welcome. I am Janelle Hurst with Legacy Rose Company, and today I have the pleasure of having Ms. Latrivia Gwen as we talk about being in the valley of transition. Recently, I transitioned from corporate America and started my own company, and it is a passion of mine to encourage other women, other entrepreneurs that are thinking of starting a business or doing something different, whether that's in a career, going back to college. So I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do.
So my name is Latrivia Gwen, and I am a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and I am the owner of Hope Health Services. I have a passion for working with youth and helping bring families back together.
Wonderful. So happy to have this time to talk with you. So I want to talk with you about a time you made a big change in your life and what that was like for you. So can you tell me about a change that you've had to go through in your life that we can talk about today?
So what I'm going to talk about is the very first change was the very first time that I decided to go back to school to even be a nurse. So
Wow. Going back to school. So what was your mindset at that time when you decided, I'm going to go back to school, I want to make this career change and develop myself? What was going through your mind? What was your mindset around that process at that time in your life?
So at that time, I was 30 years old and I had 4 children. I was married and had 4 children. And I had previously obtained my GED at 16. So I've been out of school for a long time. I was watching my family and we were struggling financially on food stamps and whatever. And I wanted something different. And I was like, I cannot just continue like this. So I have to do something different. So I was trying to figure out, what can I do? And so I thought about going back to school to become a nurse.
Wow. That is huge, and I connect with that story, right? Because I'm a mom of 2 little girls. And when I was in corporate America, I was working, doing a mom thing, going through a global pandemic and homeschooling them. So it's a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibilities that you have in your life. So when you were in the valley of transition, as you were thinking of going back to school at age 30, I commend you on that, by the way.
Thank you.
What were some of the emotions that you were going through at that time as you're considering making this huge shift in your life?
I was terrified.
Understandably so.
I was terrified. I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if I could, because I have not been in school since I was 16. I didn't know if I could actually have the ability to go back to school, actually become a nurse and move forward. I was a home mom with 4 children, and I was just didn't know if I could. And even the nursing program that I was a part of at the moment, or trying to get into, it wasn't a whole lot of people of my color getting into the program. So a lot of those people I just kept hearing all the stories, but they don't let Black people into the program. You're not going to be able to, they're prejudiced. They're not. So I had a lot of emotions going into fear. Even the church I was a part of at that time weren't supporting mothers going out to work and getting a job. So it was a lot of things that I was working through at that time.
Wow. Fear is inevitable, right? In life, it's filled with so much change. But when you're going through change, that fear is real, right? It's present, it's real. How did you get past that fear and anxiety to take that first step and move forward in that decision?
Well, first I sat down and I counted the cost. And then I realized, what was my why? Why am I doing this? I said, I was doing this because I'm like, I didn't want my children to be another statistic. I needed to do something to change the game. When you see your family and friends or people in your area that's all selling drugs out here in the streets, being locked up, I'm like, I got to do something different for my children. How am I going to save my children? What am I going to do different? And sometimes you have to make them sacrifices, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just going, and I just was like, God, I need you to help me. If this is, I need you to go before me. And I'm like, and I felt reassurance from God. Like, I got you, even though everybody might not be for it, I'm with you. And so come on. So I held his hand. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. But even it was definitely my family and my children wanting to break that cycle and do something different.
Yep, yep. Knowing your why is really important when you're going through something like that, and having that as your guiding post, right?
Yes.
To help you. So I absolutely identify and agree with that 100%. Was there a particular tool or resource or person that helped you get through that transition from, not being in school from 16 to here I am going back into this rigorous nursing program to push through and accomplish this? One
Well,
thing that stood out to you that helps you?
My mom, she always believed in me, and she always pushed me to do something more. And so she had ended up trying to go back to school. And so she was telling me, you can do it, Treeby. Like I'm doing it, you can do it. So it was kind of like we were both doing it together, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? In her own way, in her own path. But she was, definitely there to support me and encourage me to go through it. Like whatever I need, I'll help you with the kids. So just having that person to believe in you
that
and tell you
support.
that that support, you know what I mean? And it might
Absolutely.
family, it might just be somebody. Like I had a guy who worked with me, and he was a big influence as well. And he was like, you've done all these other things. Now it's just you can do all these little things. Now it's time to do that big thing. Just do it. So having people in your corner to believe in you really helps.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I agree with that. So now that you're here, you are fast forward a few years later, you've graduated, now you're a nurse practitioner and serving in your field. What advice would you give someone that's in the position, in that valley of transition, considering making a big change or shift in their life, whether it's personal or professional, whether it's going back to school, changing course in their careers, or leaving corporate America to go to an entrepreneurship or small business?
My advice would be just do it, right? Like sometimes we have those moments where we're just trying to figure out what do we do next, trying to figure out our purpose in life. And sometimes when you look at your situation and you're tired of it, until you get sick and tired, you won't do something you got to do. You won't do anything different, but you need to
Yes.
do something different. You need to fight. You need to do it. You need to believe in yourself. You need to surround yourself with people who believe in you, right? And just go and go hard. And even if you make mistakes, don't stop. You right? Figure out the plan. One thing that I did do, I counted the cost. I was looking at the programs. I'm like, okay, what is it going to take for me to get first? Because I did LPN to RN to BSN to master's in nursing education and then master's psych and P. But I looked at all the courses that were needed. I looked at everything and I counted the cost. What do I need to do to make this happen? How do I get through? How do I make it the shortest route possible? So I was looking at avenues. How do I get there fast? Because I wanted to make sure that I was getting there efficiently and, doing it, whatever correctly. But I sat
Yes.
down and I planned it out because sometimes, I look through the book. Sometimes you have to do your own research, right? To see what does that
Yes.
look like for you. So do the research, figure it out. I went through that book. My advisor, because the advisor I was going to, she was just as clueless as me.
Wow.
She didn't really give me, she was just saying, here, pick these, but she didn't map it out for me. And I needed to do that homework and map out how am I going to get from here to there. I had to sit down and do that. And I
Yeah.
figured out the classes I'm going to take this spring, this fall, this summer. I went through the whole process and mapped my whole way out according to their degree plan, according to the classes that they had available. And I made it happen. And every time I was always thinking ahead, thinking about the next thing. I created a plan, and whatever next I was going to go, I already had it. I was already thinking about the next step. like for the RN, I knew what I needed to take so I can transition to the RN program. Before I was
Yes.
even done with the RN, I was trying to see, what do I got to do to transition to my bachelor's? Before I was done with that, how do I get my master's? What do I got to do? So I was preparing, you know what I mean? And then guess what? When you begin to prepare, things fall in line, right?
Mhm.
The doors begin to open, right? But you have to keep moving. You have to move. You have to do something in order for that blessing to come. You can't just stand there and be like, I wanna. You got to do something, and before you know it, those things will start aligning, and it'll just happen for you, right?
Yeah,
So
that's the definition of success, right? You have
yes,
to prepare, right? Do
yes,
your
exactly.
homework, be prepared so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready. Stay
Yes.
ready so you don't have to get ready. That's
Come on now.
a thing I tell my kids all the time. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. If you have to
Yes,
get ready, you might miss out on some opportunities because you weren't
exactly.
in that space, right? So
Yes.
thank you so much
Yes.
for that advice. Thank you so much for sharing and encouraging another person that's thinking of going back to school, changing courses in career or personal or their personal life. I truly hope that this will bless someone and encourage someone else. Thank you so much, Miss
You're
Quinn.
you're welcome.